Welcome to my top 10 game-changing tips in Excel. Here's a 15-second tips about how to select your dataset. If you put your cursor at the very top of the dataset and press Ctrl A, it will scroll all the way down. Now if you put your cursor anywhere in the middle of the dataset and press Ctrl A, it will not scroll all the way down. This is how you can add a green check and a red cross on the status, and at the same time provide a strike through if it's completed with a green check. Let's get started. So first, click on your status cell here. Then after that, you go to conditional formatting, then click on new rules. Once a pop-up window comes up here, on the format style, you'll be selecting icon set, and then icon style, let's select cross, exclamation, and a check. Then over here, you're going to put show icon only. And on the check, if you eyeball all the way to the right, this percentage has to be changed to numbers. And we're going to say that 1 represents a check. And then over here, we're going to change this exclamation to cross. And then we're going to remove the extra cross and say no cell icon. Now, if you eyeball all the way to the right here, you're going to change percent to number. And we're going to leave the 0 as it is here. So 0 means red cross and 1 means green check. Once that's done, click on OK. And then you can, if you press 1 here and hit enter, you can see it turns green check, and you put 0, you'll put red cross. So next thing we want to do is to put the strike through on this. Select the task, the very first task here, and let's go conditional formatting again and say new rule. On this new formatting rule, you're going to select use a formula to determine which cell to format. Over here on the formula, you're going to say equal B2, which is this one here, equal 1. So which means if it's 1, you're going to strike through. Click on format there. Make sure there's a check here and click on OK. So it should look like that on your preview. Once that's done, click on OK. Now just as a test, if I were to put 1 here, you can see that the task for that respective task for the respective status is strike through. And if you put 0 here, which represent cross, there's no strike through at all. Now the only thing you have to do is to apply the formatting of this two cell to the rest of the cell on the row here. Select the two tasks here, the task and the status, paint format, and you select the remaining of the row all the way down. And then release it. Now the formatting has been applied to all the rows. Now if you do 1 here, you can see whenever there's a green check, there's a strike through. Whenever there's a red cross, there's no strike through. If you want to prevent your user from entering duplicate data in your Excel spreadsheet and at the same time produce pop-up error message, this is how you would do it. First, select the area that you want to apply the rule to, and after that, make sure you are on Data tab here. Click on Data Validation again. On this pop-up window, you're going to select Custom. On this formula section, enter the following formula. So in this formula, A2 means a starting row and A10 means the last row. If you have more than that, of course, you're going to have to change this to A12, 11, or maybe 100. And the second argument on this COUNTIF is the starting location of your table. And once that's done, let's click on Error Alert. And this section allows you to customize your pop-up window. So first of all, make sure that your Show Error Alert has been checked on, and then give it a title. And over here, this is the message that pops up on your pop-up window there. Okay, once you enter those error messages and title, click on OK. Now, let's start entering numbers here now, like that, and maybe like that. And if you were to enter a number which is already existing over here and hit enter, a pop-up error message will appear indicating that there's a duplicate. This is a duplicate user ID on this rows of 10. You can retry, which allows you to modify your user entry value. And for some reason, if you do it again and click on cancel, it gets rid of whatever you've entered. This also works on alphabet as well. Let's say, for example, you type ABC, DEF, and all of a sudden if you do ABC again and hit enter, it detects duplicate. Okay, how do I convert this URL and the title into this nice looking HTML hyperlink, and then you can apply to every row like this without typing manually, of course. So this is how I'll do it normally. So over here, and I'll use this formula. If you look at the formula a bit closer, you can see that the A2 has been concatenated as part of the anchor on the HTML, and B2 is essentially the title itself, and that's how I got this anchor hyperlink. And now I can apply to all the rows like I demonstrated before. If you want to add some AI to your spreadsheet like this, where you have a phone number and you want the AI to find which territory or state it belongs to, like this is how you do it. First, you're going to go to extension, and then you're going to click on add-on, get add-ons. This pop-up window comes up. On a search field, you're going to type ChatGPT like this, and you're going to select ChatGPT in Sheets and Documents. Click on it and install this one here. I've already installed mine, so I'm not going to install. Once the installation is complete, I'm going to close this. Next thing you're going to have to do is to set your API key. Go extension, and then go GPT for Sheet, and set API key. Click on this guy here, and then a pop-up window will appear. Click on this hyperlink here. It will open up the OpenAI API Key Management Tool. In here, you're going to create a new secret key. Copy this secret key and click OK. And then after that, go to your Google Sheet, go here, and you're going to paste that secret key. And then click on Save API. You can check if you like. It will come back obviously as good because I just generate the API key and Save API key. Once that's done, you can enter the GPT formula by typing equal GPT and in open parenthesis, double quote. And in here, you're going to ask the question, what state is this phone number from? Question mark, close parenthesis. And the second argument would be the phone number, this guy here, so which is A2, and you close parenthesis and hit enter. What it does is that it goes into OpenAI and try to find out what the phone number is, and this is from Alberta, Canada. So you can copy the same formula and apply the same formula to the rest of your rows like this. Excel hyperlink functions allow you to navigate between sheets on the same workbook or launch another workbook that's in your hard drive. Let me show you how hyperlink functions can be used. You say equal hyperlink. The first argument is your link location, where you want to navigate. I'm going to navigate B14 on the same sheet here. The sheet number is 079. And then second argument is your friendly name, which is this Amazon, which appears as the hyperlink text. So if you click on this Amazon, it goes and highlights B14 on this cell here. I'm going to apply the same formula for the remaining rows. Now if you click on pen here, what this does is that it navigates to a different sheet called sheet underscore 064 and highlights cell 4. If you click on it, you can see it goes to sheet 064 and highlights pen, which is on A4. So if we go back here, and if you want to highlight a row, you specify with the colon M wherever you want to go to, right? So if you go here, it goes A4 to M4. Let's go back here. And if you want to highlight a series of data like this, what you do is that you specify the range this way. It's going to highlight these cells on the separate sheet called sheet 064. If you click this guy here, you can see highlights in a box format. You can also launch a separate workbook and go to a specific cell on a specific sheet. Like in this example here, I'm gonna open up a workbook called tip underscore XLSX, and it's gonna go to a sheet named My Grade Sheet, and then after that it's gonna highlight this set of cells here. If we click on it, it has opened up another worksheet which is existing on the hard drive, and it's highlighted row A13 to E13 as specified on this cell here. You can also create some sort of like a navigation tool. Like for example, if you click this guy here, it goes to a different sheet, and you click on back, you can go back to your original sheet, and likewise another sheet. The way to do it would be somewhat similar again. Equal hyperlink. The first argument will be the sheet name 076, which is this guy here, and it's going to highlight cell A1 and that friendly text called user ID. When you go to that sheet 0761 on the back, I'm going to link it up to the sheet 079, which is the original one where it came from, and going to highlight A1, and I'm just going to put the text back as my hyperlink. When you click here, it goes back, and that's how this and this was created. You can also use the same hyperlink to send email. Hyperlink, and the first one is you're gonna have to specify mail to colon followed by the email address, comma, and a friendly name like that, which is gonna be your hyperlink. When you click on it, you'll open a mail client, and then you can send email that way. You can also link up or launch your browser with the appropriate URL using hyperlink. First name will be the location. I'm going to go to Google, comma, and the friendly name will be Google, like that. So if I click on Google, it'll open up Google. I'm going to use the same format for the rest of them, and click on Yahoo, opens Yahoo here, and IBM, and so on. If you want the ability to search and count the number of times a value occurs like this is how you can do it. First, select the data set that you want to work on. Make sure you're on Home tab here. Under Styles, click on Conditional Formatting. In here, select New Rules. Here you'll be selecting Use a formula to determine which cell to format. Then in this formula section, enter this formula, countif C2 to C6, which means C2 to C6 is where you'll be entering the numbers, and then A2 is the beginning of your data set. Now select Format. In here, click on Fill, and I'm going to select a yellow color and click OK to close, and OK to close formatting rule. Now every time you enter a number, say 188, you can see those numbers that appears in this data set will get highlighted. Now to count the number of occurrence of this particular number here, simply use this formula, countif AA. AA pertains to the whole column of A. C2 is what you're looking for on this column, and hit enter. As you can see, 188 appears twice. And I'm going to apply this to C2 all the way to C6 because I have done conditional formatting from C2 to C6. Now if you were to enter, say, a number, say 22, you can see 22 has appeared twice. What about 42? It has appeared once. And 123, it has appears none. And 45, it appeared twice. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate to you how you can do web scraping of Amazon review, and after that perform sentiment analysis of each of the review. So let's get started. For the first part of it, I'm going to do web scraping of Amazon review. You need to put an extension by clicking on extension, add-on, get add-on, and you're going to be looking for something called import from web. Click on it and install this extension. I already installed the extension. I'm going to close this here. Next, you're going to have to get the URL right here. So go to your Amazon web page, and let's say I want this particular product. All you have to do is you have to scroll all the way down at the very bottom, and then you scroll up a bit and you will see a hyperlink called See All Review. Click on it, select the URL, and then you copy the URL. Next, you're going to have to paste the URL in here, and then you're going to have to use a formula called import from web. The first argument will be the URL, and the second argument would be review underscore rating, review underscore title, and review underscore body. Hold your shift key and select D1 like that, and then close parenthesis and hit enter. You can see you get all the reviews here. Now you can see you only have about 6 reviews. If you need more reviews, you're gonna have to go to page 2. So all you have to do on your Amazon web page, you go all the way down again, and go next page, and then click on this URL and copy, and you paste it. And you can see, if you look at the Amazon URL, this is page number 2. Let's say if you go to page number 3, if there's any page number 3, you have guessed it, it's going to be called page number 3. So let's say if you have 2 URLs, if you want to pull all the reviews from these 2 URL, go back to your import from web. Over here, the first argument, you're going to select A2 and A3 like that and hit enter. And now this time around you'll get slightly more reviews from 2 pages. Once that's done, if you want to do sentiment analysis on this one here, this is how I do it. I'm going to reorganize my spreadsheet here so I can see everything together. The first thing I'm going to have to do is to import the ChatGPT extension. Go to extension, go to add-on, get add-on. In here, you're going to type ChatGPT, and you're going to click on ChatGPT OpenAI in Sheet. Click on it, and you're going to install this extension here. Next, you're going to have to get the ChatGPT API by clicking on extension, ChatGPT for Sheets and Doc. Click on Set API, and then you click on this hyperlink to open up OpenAI's web page to get your API key. Copy it, paste it in here, and after that, save the API. I already done mine, so I'm not going to do that. So once that's done, now you're ready to do the sentiment analysis. The formula to do sentiment analysis in ChatGPT would be equal GPT classify sentiment in one word. They have to be in double quotes here. The second argument on GPT formula would be the comment itself, which is D2. And the third argument, we put it as 0 and close parenthesis. And if you hit enter, what it does is that it goes and does the sentiment analysis, and it tells you that this review is actually a positive one. You can copy the same review and paste it on the next one and the next one. And let's do it for all the rows. There you have it. So these are the sentiment analysis for each of these reviews. I'll scroll through to see how they fare. If you want to identify which expiry date is less than 31 days from the date of event, this is how you do it. First, select the expiry date like this. Make sure you're on Home, Style, Conditional Formatting, New Rules. In here, you're going to select Use Formula, and the formula you'll be using is this one here. And for some reason, if you don't like 31 days, you want 60 days, just change the 31 to 60. Next, click on Formatting, select the color that you want. Make sure you're in Field tab here. I'm going to select red and click OK and OK. Now you can see that any of those days that's less than 31 days, which means the difference between this date and this day is 31 days, they are all highlighted. And for some reason, if I change it to June 6, the highlight is gone. What I'll do is undo everything. A more practical approach to do this would be to highlight the whole row so it is obvious. So the way to do it would be to highlight like that everything that you want to change color or apply conditional formatting to. Home, Style, Conditional Formatting, New Rule. Use Formula. The formula you'll be using is this. Make sure there's a $sign in all this appropriate position here. And click on Format. And this time around, I'm going to choose, say, green color to highlight. Click OK and OK. Now, this is more practical than just highlighting the expiry date. And if you change any of this date to, say, August 8, as you can see, those changes accordingly. If you want to strip down the city from the main address here like this and determine the population live from the World Wide Web, and also at the same time determine the tier based on the population, this is how you do it. First and foremost of all, this is what the table looks like, all empty. The blue ones is US address, and the one below in red are Canadian address. So you can see in most address, the city is the second one. You can see 2 commas here. Also the Canadian address, the city is on the second one here. If you have that kind of setup, it's pretty straightforward. To strip down the city, you use this formula here like this and hit enter, and you can see they strip down the New York for you. And if I apply to the rest of them, it will work the same way, like that. There we go. And to get population, you have to use a function called import XML. And the way to do it is that, let's say import XML, like that. The first argument on import XML is the URL of where you're going to get those population from, and the second one is called expat query. We're going to leave the locale as it is and not going to even enter them. So let me give you a quick introduction. The way I'm getting the population is from this web page called citypopulation.de. And let's say, for example, if you want a US cities population, this is New Jersey, New York. So if you want a particular text from this web page, this is basic web scraping, right? What you do is that you highlight this text here like this, and you go right click and you inspect. Now this is a Google Chrome. Firefox is a bit different, but the idea is the same. I think they use the same term as inspect. Once that's done, this section of the code will be highlighted under elements here. If you right click in here, you go copy, and then you click on copy full path, and that's what you need for the XPath. So and also the thing to note is that the way that the URL is formed is like that. So what you're going to have to do is that in this particular website, they use city.de US metro New York / that's the URL, and we do have New York over here, so we're going to have to make everything lowercase and strip it down. So basically this is what the first portion of your import URL looks like that. So basically that's your URL, and you're taking the city and you're getting rid of the spaces, and then after that trimming front and back of any white spaces, and changing everything to lowercase and concatenating them. And then I did say that the XPath would be something like that. You see, it's this thing here. This is what it looks like if you copy. I mean, this is where this came from was, let me hit enter here, and it'll give you the population of that. So where this came from was this. If you go this and you go right click and you go copy and you go full path, and if I were to open my notepad here, let me get my notepad here, and if I were to paste it, see, this is what it looks like. So that's what you need for your XPath there. So that's for US, and for Canada you're gonna have to change this to CA, and this XPath is going to be a bit different as well. Let's do this here for now, and then to determine the tier, I'm going to use population determine tier. So this is the formula I'm using for tier. So basically 10 million is going to be called tier 1, 5 million tier 2, and 1 million tier 3, and 4 million for anything else. So that's how I determine the tier. And then if I take this and apply to all the US address, you get this population from that web page, and also the tier as well as you go along. For the Canadian city, extraction is similar, same formula. I'm going to copy the same formula and paste it in here, and it works for all of them because the structure is same. The city is at the center here, but the what do you call that, the formula to calculate, or the formula to get the population, is going to be slightly different. If you look at this web page here, like I said, citypopulation.den, this is Canada, previously was US, so that's something you're gonna have to change. Metro followed by city is the same, and this one here is your XPath. This is the population in 2010. You right click and you go inspect, you will highlight this thing here for you. This is the number that you want. Right click here, and what you do is you hit copy full path again. And if you look at your this one was for US. Let me give a couple of space here, and if you press Ctrl V or paste it, this is what it looks like for Canadian. So what you do is this. So go back to your Google Sheet here. I'm going to copy this formula here. As you can see, I'm going to use the same formula called import XML. HTTPS population city. As you can see, this is called Canada Metro, and basically doing the same thing, getting rid of space between if there's any of the city has 2 words in it, trimming it, which means removing white spaces from back and front, and changing it to lowercase, basically forming the URL itself. And then I'm going to copy this. This is what I got it for XPath here, and then that's my second argument on my import XML. I'm going to close it with parentheses and hit enter. And that didn't work at all. So let me have a quick look at it. What happened here is this. Double click here. You got to put the XPath query in double quote. Don't forget that. And hit enter, and you'll get your total population from that web page there. Now this shows 6 million, mainly because this is Calgary. What they want here was Toronto. So if you take this and paste it to Calgary, you'll see 1.481 million is from here. Okay, so gonna apply the same formula to the rest of the Canadian city here like this, and I'm gonna keep the tier calculation the same. Likewise, if you want to change, let's say make it a bit smaller for Canadian city, maybe call it 1 million for tier 1 and 500,000 for tier 2, and then 100,000 for tier 3, and so on. You can change it that way too, right? It depends on how you want to categorize each city. Well, that's how you do it. Basically, city, population from the World Wide Web, and tier calculation. On my YouTube channel, I regularly share Excel tips and tricks every day. Make sure you subscribe to stay updated.